Happy Onewheel Wednesday, everybody. My name is Scot Mendenhall. We're stoked about our guest today. We have Nico coming in. Nico has been on this when he previously lived in the state he previously lived in. He was in a dorm room, and he had some amazing, epic headphones on. We're going to talk to him all about Vesc, GTS firmware. We're going to talk about all. He is, from your vantage point, for you watching, he's on the other side of the conversation. You think I'm on the other side. We are not opposing forces. I'm just love to talk in that you guys listen to, so I'm glad you're here with us today. We have some cool things that have been dropped. We're going to bring you some hot news straight from the Float Life that I just was made aware of moments before this, and you probably already know we're going to talk about that, but let me introduce, because this is the Scot Mendenhall and Friends podcast, and I'm joined by the one and only, my best friend and wife, Holly.
Hi, everybody. I'm a one-wheeler.
She is 1 week straight. 1 week straight. This girl's
every day.
Every day. She jumped in on the day 50 for the family. She's like, all right, that's it. I'm going to ride the rest of the year.
I started on the XR, and I know the XR. I've ridden the XR the most out of all of my time on a one wheel. Then I did the Pint. That was fine. And then I tried the GT. I love the GT. It's great.
But you like it with the 7-inch wide tire because you like the balance of it. That's what you said.
Well, yeah. I mean, I could go try the other GTs that the kids have, and because I don't have one. The kids have them.
That is the problem, right? Holly has to borrow everybody's boards. So if everyone's riding, she ain't riding. So we got to fix that. I'm not quite sure how we're going to fix that, but we're going to fix that. We're excited about getting Mama Bear, if you will, on the board. We also are having Lily over here.
Hi, everyone.
Lily made
Happy
famous this
Wednesday.
week.
Yeah, she was.
Made famous?
Yeah, your
Did you guys catch her wedding post?
wedding post on Onewheel's
So
Instagram,
good.
the IG.
We got to one wheel away from our wedding. It was so fun.
And so it got reposted. It's actually not even it's not in just their like daily
No,
post.
they, like,
it's in
posted.
their feed. It's impressive, Lil. Well done. Great pictures.
Yep, they were
yeah,
beautiful.
good pictures to the one who took them. She was amazing.
Well, you know, the canvas was pretty good too.
The canvas?
Yeah, you guys.
Oh.
Yeah, his and her boards, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It was
yeah.
great. It was
Very memorable.
it was great. Before we bring in Nico, we'll bring him in. We'll tell
Some
you.
are asking who Nico is.
What? You don't know who Nico is? Wow. Okay, then it's our honor to introduce you.
Yeah, you're going to have to come up with something real
I'm going to have to come in really good. Okay, I don't know, but nonetheless, hey, you can go to thefloatlife.com, and they have a package deal for hubs. They got new tires in. They just dropped a brand new tire.
Wait, I thought you were wanting to hold on to those.
No, I'm not holding on to it. It's a big news, breaking
Sell 'em
news.
out.
It's happened in the last 30 minutes.
New tire?
Here, yeah, it's a tire I want. It's a 5-inch tire, but the tire width is 6 inches, so it's a more stable ride.
What are they calling it?
Whew! We'll bring in Nico. All right, let's get to Nico. If you don't know Nico is one of the geniuses in the Vesc community. He has wrote so many different features and app portions of the Vesc software. He is one of the OGs in that space in Onewheels. Like, we're talking about, he went to college, and while he was at college, he was writing code for Vesc. He's got his own modifications in there. He now has, his skills have been taken from Ohio and transplanted out into California because the Float Life was like, we got to capture this talent for our team. And so
goodness.
Nico is in California throwing down upgrades, updates, and blowing your mind with Vesc features. It's going to be really cool what's happened. It is our honor and privilege to introduce one of the Scot Mendenhall and friends, Nico. How we doing, Nico?
Hey, good to be on here. Your intros never cease to amaze me.
Nico, you rock.
That was perfect.
You are like, I'm blown away that, and again, the one wheel space or community, it's small enough that you just would think that all names everybody would know. And so people in the chat are saying, who's Nico? This is Nico, everyone, and he's a genius.
Oh,
It was a joke.
That was
just
Brandon,
Brandon.
yeah.
He's 20 feet away from me.
Oh.
I didn't read
What
who
a
it was.
troll.
Sorry, I didn't know
But
we were being trolled.
There might be somebody that really,
never
but
know.
You never know.
This particular person, I didn't read who it was.
Okay.
Well, it was Brandon. He's sitting right next to.
Okay, great.
Nico.
You
I'll
punked
take the
Holly.
extra intro.
which totally punked me.
I'm punked.
There was a few people, but they were kidding.
Okay, if you don't know, that's Nico. You're such a genius. I mean, that's the thing I think of. Whenever I hear the name Nico, there's two things: genius, great writer. Genius, great writer.
I think of the 21 Pilot song. Nico and the Niners.
Nico and the
I think I
Niners.
said that the last time that
I
we
think you
had
did.
you on. Anyways.
Probably.
He's got people
fan.
saying he's the Vesk whisperer. He's got people saying he's just
Which
awesome.
the Float Life did such a great job, honestly, to promo you with the trailer. And we have a clip of that here where they're introducing you as the Vesc Whisperer, where a board's out of control. For those that are listening and can't see, we'll try to give you a play-by-play. Let's roll that footage if we can. Here's a board out of control. And Nico, you still don't know it's Nico because all you saw is his knees. And then there are Patton. Oh, it's all right, buddy.
got
And then you pet it, the Vesc Onewheel, like it's an animal, and it calms
Bessie.
down. Oh, Vessi, I think you say that right. And then they introduce you as part of the Float Life team, which
That's
is
awesome.
pretty cool, man.
What was it like filming that, Nico?
Oh my gosh, the entire time when I showed up, they already had the whole like concept, storyboard, everything ready to go. They just took me out to the spot and we started filming. But the entire time we were just laughing at ourselves like this is so stupid on the spot.
It's so funny.
It turned out great.
But I
couldn't
think
be happier.
some of the outtakes were pretty funny, where you're walking like a cowboy and things. It was just done well. Yeah.
Super creative out there.
Having Jeff over there with the mic on a can, just talking, it was great. I think if somebody watches that and they're not smiling while they watch it, something wrong with them. It just was great fun. And so it's cool to know that you're out there. And so tell us, before we get into a lot of you responding to Jeff to drop the remote, comments from last week because you are a Vest guy that likes the remote.
Sure.
What's the plans with you out there? Can you give us some of that information? What are you going to do with the team out there?
I can't go too overly deep, and there's also a lot we're still planning out for the rest of the year. But the overall idea is that really we just want to take this opportunity and push Vest to be as user-friendly as possible. That's probably the biggest thing. User-friendly, lower barrier of entry. Because right now, the big thing is if you're able to follow instructions and follow them exactly as said, don't make assumptions along the way or anything like that, just do as said.
Yeah.
It's not terrible to set up a Vest. The big thing is the consequence for missing a step. You could just miss one step, and if it's a bad step to miss, you could have your board shutting off on you earlier than you want, like an early battery cutoff or things like that, or just the board responding in ways that you don't expect and it bugs you off. So just making that barrier of entry and the initial setup process as easy as possible is probably one of our biggest priorities. And then beyond that, really Jeff just wants to support the Vest scene in general,
Yeah.
but also giving me an opportunity to the last year, I really haven't done much of any Vest development stuff. Anything in the last year has mostly been from Dotto or Mitch Lustig.
Yep.
Just because I've been juggling school and work and things like that. So this also just gives me the opportunity to continue doing what I could do in little bursts in my free time.
Yep.
Now I have a lot more time to dive into those stuff.
What I'm hearing, Nico, is we're taking off the leash and the handcuffs and saying, "Let's go, giddy up, let's create."
That's the hope.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Yeah. Well, and I love when you say, and again, I think it's really good, great kudos to the Float Life to go, hey, let's make this easier entry into Vest. Because if I'm in any camp on Vest, it's hey, it's really for what I want to do in my life, I don't have time to jack around with if I jack this thing up, how do I get it back? I just don't know. And so the barrier of entry has kept me from really ever doing a Vest because I don't want to make the time. I could find the time, right? Obviously, don't watch a movie and do it.
You have to drop me a controller.
Well, that's because somebody dropped it. They must have
a
watched
mic
Jeff's,
drop.
and they dropped the remote.
Drop the remote.
Yeah, they dropped it. And so I'm stoked to watch what will progress out of that for Vesc and shoot, even if I can be a guinea pig, if Scott can do it, anyone can do it, kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's pretty exciting. Before we move on, we were on, you were the one who brought it to my attention. It's a package deal now with the hub that you have right behind you, the MTEs. Because I was telling Nico, there it is on the shelf. I was saying right before, I was like, man, I was just on the website. I can't even find MTEs anymore. And I happened to be on their website at the exact same time they were updating the website for one of the hottest drops. And one of the coolest upgrades you can do to your board, in my opinion, is get a 5-inch rim or hub. They are awesome, so much fun. I've not yet seen you ride one in any footage yet.
Yeah, I've probably not too much footage just because it's not on my race board, but it's definitely the board I ride the most often. Really, I have two main setups that I ride. One is the race board that has footholds, that big tire with extended rails.
Yep.
I always use the remote with it. And then I've got a second board that's just on WTF varials. It's got the MTE with the 555 Enduro, which personally, that 555 Enduro has become my favorite all-around
Really?
tire. Just like the perfect blend of like, you can lower the pressure and it gets really stable, honestly. Like I prefer it over the Trail Pro on trails. But then you can bump up the pressure on streets and it gets a lot more nimble, a lot more responsive.
That's cool.
So for me, at least, it's the perfect just all-in-one tire that I can just adjust the pressure to however I want to ride.
Yeah.
And then I always run that board with no footholds and no remote, and just staying in touch with that style of riding.
So you're not sold out to one side. For everybody thinks, like, because so many people in this community think we all got sides. We do have preferences, but I don't think.
For sure.
I just like, you're like, I ride boards that way as well, but I have a race setup. But everyone can go to floatlife.com and you can pick up a package deal. I love mine. I do want to try that tire that just dropped. I hope someone from there is listening. Just put one aside and I'll order it if I got to. But like, my gosh, I want to ride that. I want to know what it rides like, because I don't care for as much that nimbly 5.5. I don't have a 5.55, but I have a Vesk that's 5 inches wide, or not Vesk, sorry, a Vega, and I don't enjoy it pumped all the way up. And so just be kind there. Hold on to one for me so I don't miss it, because I'm talking to Nico. Sure. I'm talking to Nico. Okay, so that's cool to know that you have that on a board. And again, for all of us that watch you, Nico, it is based on what we see you post or other people post with you, right? Of what you're writing. We have a little bit of a montage that, again, Float Life put out onto the Vesk Whisper promo trailer of you. And for those that really, maybe you don't know how well he can ride, the dude's a beast. He is so much fun to watch. When we were at Dirt Surfers this past year, he took off in the Enduro race, which is a mass start, everybody going at one time. And I just happened to be at where you turn in your chip, your race chip, and you got blood coming from your face. And I'm like,
sir. That was a gnarly one.
It's because you met a tree, right? Is that what happened? What happened?
I'm pretty sure the eye thing was from, I bailed, I think, either twice or three times in that race. But the very last bail I had was when my board shot off the cliffside and I couldn't get it back. I was looking everywhere for it. You can see that in my video of it. But I landed face first, and I think the visor of my full face flipped down and just like, I think it just scratched my eyelid, something like that. It was gnarly because from looking back at the picture, it looked like it needed stitches almost, but the next day it was totally fine.
Yeah, by the time you got to where you had to turn in your chip, you had blood coming. You look like you had just gotten in a fight with a boxer. That's really what
I had no idea. I couldn't see myself, so
that's hilarious. But here's the footage, again, brought to you by the crew out there at Float Life that put this together. Here's just a montage as we keep talking, like how good of a rider Nico is. He won back in the fall at Windman, and so here, I mean, you send
that
it. That drop's taller than him. I mean, that's what's why. Here's the mass start.
that's the excursion.
That is the big race. This is footage from just the other
Just
This
day.
was
last
just
weekend.
the other weekend. Yep.
Yeah.
Wheel Fun weekend.
Yeah, like look at how far out you are. Like that's
Whoa.
wild. Launching into a foam pit. Who wouldn't want to do that?
It was so fun.
Yeah,
bet.
I need to build one of those for myself and my kids. That just the footage
I'd ride
there.
that.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, you know they're lying, right? There's not a chance that
A
they
foam
would.
pit?
You would take your one wheel and launch it in a foam pit.
Yes.
I don't believe you.
What?
No way.
I think she will mellow at the ramp, and the hard part is getting out of the foam pit.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
would
I
do that. What?
jumped,
I've jumped
a
into
couple
many foam pits.
times because I basically hurt my back constantly grabbing the board and pulling it
Oh,
out
yeah.
of the pit over
You have-
and over again. It's like, okay, I can only do that a couple times.
Yeah, you don't have leverage, do you? You don't have leverage to get the board out there. Now, I got to ask, in that footage, I don't know when that was shot. What board were you on? Were you on a Vesc at that point?
Oh yeah, all of the
Okay.
shots in that montage, I'm pretty sure they're all from the last year, and they're all on my race board setup.
So you
extended
have a
rails,
remote.
big tire, remote, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would think that a Lily or I would potentially, maybe
well, you could,
struggle.
if you're building one, you could make it custom for one wheels and just have a mellower kicker. But yeah,
True.
that ramp specifically is really hard to get air off of without the remote.
Yeah,
for
that's what I
sure.
was going to say. So I don't even think you could ride it. You'd have to borrow his Vesc board, and you'd have to use a remote, Lil.
I would be willing to learn.
Oh, my goodness. We just need to
I
make this
would.
happen. It would
I
be
would.
hilarious.
can always
I would be willing.
Yeah.
Fully.
She always
I would.
Oh, that's so good. That'd be great. And that was that.
I believe you, Lily.
Thanks, Nico.
I gotta say, before we get into more of the things of you in Vaskin, what the future looks like, when you were leaving Ohio, they did a bunch of going away parties and stuff, and it looked like they rented out one of the bigger area. I don't know what it's called, but when I lived in Ohio, there was a mountain bike course inside a warehouse.
Yeah.
And they rented that out
so
or something?
there's- Not that one. That what you're thinking of is Ray's indoor bike park, and that one's up in Cleveland. That's major. Like it's huge, tons of features. There's videos of it online with like millions of views. They
Right.
do not let us into that one. They're super strict on anything besides bikes, and even e-bikes they're a bit strict on. So we've tried for years, no dice. But in Dayton, we have a local place called Mike's Indoor Bike Park. That basically anything with wheels that doesn't have like a gas motor in it, they're totally open to allowing. So we've been riding there, having group rides there for years. And these past couple years, every year in February, March area, when it's too cold out to ride and the trails are too wet to ride, things like that, we rent out the park after hours and a couple hours riding one wheels around there. It's a lot of steep stuff, so it's not you can enjoy yourself on a normal one wheel, but having the remote out there just totally opens up the entire park. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that would be
That'd be fun.
would be awesome. Like when I was seeing footage coming out there, I was like, yeah, that'd be pretty rad to be an indoor place, especially in Midwest. Those that live in California and stuff, you don't understand winters as much,
At all.
yeah. But nonetheless, that was pretty sweet. So you've been brought to California. You're the Vesk Whisperer. Let's get to. They even alluded to it already. Remotes. Okay, this is not a. I'm sure a guy like you could figure out how to program a boosted board remote to work, but this is a boosted
Could
board
you do
remote.
it? Could
Yeah.
you do it, Nico?
Boosted board remote, probably not. Their stuff is
What?
super like proprietary and encrypted. You'd have to do some crazy reverse engineering for that one. It is a
Dang.
nice remote though.
That
I'm
hurts
trying to
my
hang on to
brain.
it for the whole purpose if I ever get a Vesk and I gotta have a remote. Here it is. I was trying to save myself a few bucks. I guess that's out. But nonetheless, last week Jeff went to Instagram on a whim. I don't even know what triggered him, but on Wednesday, right? And no one ever knows what
triggers him
triggers
for
Jeff, right? It's just like he wakes up and going, "This is the hot topic today," and so he posts this video. We're going to replay it for all the viewers that maybe missed it last week, and we had Jeff on last week, and he gave his side. But he posts this video of himself with the hashtag drop the remote. Veskies, don't be scared. Hashtag drop the remotes. And then he goes on a rant about remotes and leveling the playing field, which is great. Now it's in his story, so it's gone. Now we recorded it. We've captured
course you
it.
did.
We have it on our hard drives. So, but then you reply, Nico, which was very clever in your response. It put a smile on my face because it was like you were poking the bear back, which I thought was great. And so you post back with the same video with a paragraph of like pretty much, well, drop the grips then, or the footholds or foot hooks, whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah, I think it was a little bit misinterpreted by a couple people, and just the whole debate in general. A lot of people didn't know exactly what was going on. So just sort of to recap and get everyone on the same page. This all started because it started with dirt surfers, but now all of the races except I don't think I've heard anything from Oak City Shred Fest, so not sure about them. But all the other races for the pro class, they are allowing Vesk riders to participate and race head to head against all the GTS riders with the contingency that they don't use a remote. And instead of having a separate Vesk class, we instead basically just have a separate remote class for those
yeah,
people that really want to ride a remote. So this isn't even a debate about how like class structure, what class allows what. That's basically already decided for this year. And Jeff's big point was trying to pull the riders that plan on racing that remote class and sticking with remote, and instead taking this opportunity that we finally have of Vest people being allowed to race alongside GTS. And he feels strongly about just taking the opportunity and having all the Vest riders race alongside and pushing that sort of Vest versus FM
yep,
competition. And like to a degree, I absolutely agree, and I really hope people take that opportunity, especially the guys that don't run remotes. It's awesome that they have that opportunity and aren't getting clumped in with all the best guys that do run remotes. So now they can race in the class that they want, whether that's even ignoring pro, like all the amateurs are all racing together, all the Clydesdales are racing together, all the legends. Um, and to clarify, Vest guys, even if you're in a class like Pro or Legends or Clydesdale, if you run Vest, you don't qualify for ORL points.
right,
So that's the other contingency, but sort of besides the point. Um,
But you can still win that event.
right. You can win
yeah,
the
that's the big thing. These
right.
guys now have the opportunity to race for the podium, race for that glory, sort of be on a more level playing field with GTS, and any kind of awards or cash prizes that aren't specifically provided for ORL, which of every event has something to that degree. That's now also up for grabs if you're willing to drop the remote and race pro.
So the question I got for you is: are you
Oh.
going to drop? Are you dropping the remote?
So for me, I thought about this a lot. I mean, at some point, I even thought about before Vest was allowed in pro over the winter. I had thought about getting a GTS and racing both open class and pro class on a GTS. Um, so I've gone back and forth a lot. At some point, I made the decision uh, to not put my foot down, but I have this bad habit of just like juggling too many things and putting too many eggs in one basket, and that sort of makes me worse in all areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So I didn't want to like race too many things, and I like at the end of the day, riding with a remote is by far the most fun I have ever had riding it, like a one wheel ever. And that, of course, that's just me personally, but the extra control that it gives you uh, lets you focus a lot more on just like lines, traction, your like flow, and just riding in general, and you're not thinking too much about the board angle. Because I'm at a point where my like I don't think about how I'm using the remote. My thumb just kind of does what it needs to when it needs to. so the board's always just kind of at the angle that I want it to be at any given point in time.
Yeah.
And just it's a different style of riding for sure, but that style of riding has brought me the most joy in riding that I've
Okay, so we know it makes
ever.
you happy, but are you racing? Are you going to race? That's a long answer to not actually answer the question yet.
Fair
Caught
point.
you.
Fair point. But yeah, that's the thing. I put my foot down and I'm making it a point to prioritize the direction I want to see the sport.
You
The
want to see
direction
remotes. You want
to
remotes.
a degree. I don't want it to completely replace all riding. But it's just what makes me the happiest. So I'd be dumb to not push that to some degree, or just ignore it, pretend like it doesn't exist. Now there are some races. I know Let It Ride is allowing you can race two classes.
Yeah.
So I could technically race the remote class and also race no remote and pro and juggle those. And that I'm still undecided if I want to do that and split my attention like that. Because I think it'd be really cool to just put all my focus in the way that I personally enjoy riding and just see what times I can get out of that.
Yep.
But for the
So then-
most part, I'm definitely prioritizing the remote
The
personally.
remote. Okay, wow, we got there finally. That we're right. You see, I mean, okay, but I could see you're saying, like, if that's what you prioritize, maybe this helps a little bit, because if you race that first, the one that you're most stoked about, which would be remotes,
Mhm.
and then you would drop the remote and go race the next class, and
Well,
you've
that's
saved.
the thing. At least for Let It Ride, they are making it so if you, and this, I think it's a shared understanding for most of the race organizers. For pro, they are making it that if you're racing two classes and one of them is pro, you have to race pro first, so that you don't have
Yep.
the advantage over the other pro guys of being warmed up, being used to the trails,
Knowing the
things
trail,
like that.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. So, again, I think it'd be really cool for you in Intel to be able to go and then share to the community. No, I'm riding both, and here are my times. And because then it's the same rider, same course, same given circumstances, meaning it's a race style. And so you'll have that energy behind it and going, no, this is what you can do with the remote, and this is what you can't do with the remote. And you do a great job at posting your races from your body cam. It'd be really cool to have them synced up, one with the remote and one without, and just be able to watch what are the advantages, because that is still, there aren't many. I just haven't seen that yet as much, because it is a little bit of sides, if you will. Like if I get a Vesk, I will start creating content that's both side to side so people can see the difference. I just don't have a board to Vesk. It's just something I'm not willing to take the Onewheels that I like and enjoy and go, well, I am now only, I have to pick something, right? It's like you got to pick. And for me, it's like, I love what Onewheel does out of a box. If I had an extra one sitting around, well, right now I would go to Holly because she doesn't have a board. So if I get two extra ones, then I would Vesk it and shoot this content that I think that it is missing out there. And you have the unique ability now, because you, at least last I knew, you have a GTS that was given to you by Austin Silva.
That is true. That is true. So at Fun Weekend, there was obviously that pump track race that you see all the videos and pictures of and everything.
Yeah, wait, let's talk about that really quick. We got some pictures from that. We need some explanations from while you're talking about that. Let's put a couple of the pictures up from Real Fun Weekend, which we documented last week on our podcast. You can go back and check that out. Okay, here is this neck and neck image that it kind of was put out by a lot of people. Okay.
It's a cool picture.
It's a great picture. What heat is this? Do you know?
I believe this is the first heat. So for the first rounds, we were split up into 3 heats, and each heat had between 4 and 6 people, something like that.
Okay.
To explain the whole race structure, honestly, it was a little bit confusing, and I'd probably need a whiteboard to actually outline it all.
Okay, that's fair.
But this wasn't the finals or anything like that. No, it was an earlier heat.
Okay, it was an early heat. No one knows how. Like, we don't need to thank you for saving us all the details because I've
Yeah.
tried to ask heaps of people and they're like, well, and I'm like, I'm confused because what you said and this person
Yeah.
said don't match up. Okay, so that was a heat and it's a great shot. It's very epic. Like if it was a 16:9 portrait, boy, that'd
I
be a
know,
great
yeah.
great one to like print and hang up in your office because it's just cool.
Right?
And
Yeah.
so then we have a couple other pictures. Like there's a picture out there of you having a massive lead on everybody, and it's like, is that a heat where you just destroy everyone? Like I don't know if we have that picture or not, but
I
you.
believe the ones where I have a solid lead, that heat I did end up going on to win. And part of that beyond the lead was also, and you can see it in the clip that's in the montage of on one of the berms, Tyler was trying to sneak in, and
Yeah.
he ended up losing his balance and digging his nose in. And we were like that whole like train of people were all so tight knit together that they kind of just piled on each other. All had to come to like a complete stop to go around Tyler. So I just had a massive lead after that. But
Oh, that
the sort
explains
of
it.
the theme of all the races that weekend was that I kind of took off on the whole shot and usually had a pretty early lead. But the pump track, like this style of racing specifically, one, it's something that none of us really practice consistently.
Right.
But me especially, I am not a great pump track racer. I've never practiced that kind of riding. I didn't grow up with board sports or anything, so I haven't practiced pump tracks in general. And it probably doesn't help that I have pretty short legs too. So everything kind of just sends me flying. But there is one specific section in like the last third of the race or something that I could just not get dialed in. So anytime I'd either come in too fast and like air off the first pump
Oh
instead of
yeah.
pumping it, so I'd land into the next uphill and then lose all my speed, or I
Yeah.
just wouldn't get a good flow through it in general. That through that section every single time people would slowly pass me. uh so even in like that neck and neck picture where like I have a technically slight lead or something like that, but we're all pretty much right there. That's right before that section, and by the end of the race they had like a solid 20 feet on me or something like that.
Yeah, because like based on the other pictures I saw, I was really surprised as the pictures were coming out before the finals. You didn't podium, so
No,
that did
that's what
surprise me.
Yeah, the pump track style more than anything else is very much about the rider than the board. Like remote, absolutely an advantage out there, but like if you don't have a great rider to ride on that board, you're not going to go fast. And I am not great at pump tracks and never claimed to be. So
Right.
I
Well,
was
in that
just out there
weekend,
to have fun.
the vibe of the weekend is fun, right? Because there's no points
For
awarded
sure.
to it. It is meant to be, let's go have fun. I think what's so great about that event, it is so easy to follow as a spectator because
Yep.
you know most of the other events we are going to, you're off in trails and you have no idea, like as a spectator, well, how they're doing. It's based on just word of mouth. So that is a special event that I love watching every year via social media because you get to see and follow along how it transpires. And I really did think you had a lot of advantages with the Vesk, the remote, and based on videos and pictures, I thought you were doing a great job. So I was surprised. So not to rub salt in the wound on you. So. Okay, so you're talking about real fun stuff. I cut you off because you were there. And then I can't remember where we were headed from there. So that is my bet.
GTS.
Oh, the GTS.
That
Yeah,
Austin
Austin
gave.
Silva gave you. So you're a real fun weekend. And then you end up
Yeah,
with the
so
GTS.
Yeah, so that race was on Saturday, which, side note, the event started on Thursday, but I showed up on Saturday. Like, that's when I got there because I drove out from Ohio, all my stuff packed up in my car, ready to move.
Wow.
So that was like 40 hours straight in the car, and I made it within an hour of when the heat started for the pump track race.
Jeez.
So that also probably factored into my performance at least a bit. But
Yeah.
right after the entire event, like Thursday through the end of the weekend, there were 3 underground segments around San Diego, and these are just short trails you can go and hit and lap, and keeps track of your best times. And by the end of the weekend, like Sunday at sunset, whoever has the fastest combined time across all three of these trails would win a free GTS.
What a great
So
prize to
That's
win.
so
oh
fun.
yeah, that'll motivate someone
Yeah.
for sure.
Not a Vesky,
So
but someone, yes.
so Saturday was all the pump track race. So I only had Sunday to hit all the trails, and that's where all the best times happened, anyways. But the San Diego trails, man, they are not like Ohio. There
Nothing's
was
like
like
the
one of
Midwest.
yeah, there was one of the trails that like I was feeling pretty fast on. I had some bad luck with like hikers and horses and things, but like I felt pretty good about it. So I was like, I'll make up the time on the rest. And then I get to this one trail they called Gale Ridge Line, and it is just this gnarly like 6 minute trail of constant steep downhills where it's super rutted. Like normally in a trail you'll be like, even if it's a wide trail, it could all be like bad lines, but then there's that one good line. As long as you stick to that, you'll be
Yeah.
fine and you can fly through. No good lines. You got to pick a bad
Oh.
line. It's all ruts all the way down where you're like balance beaming them. And I've never practiced on that kind of trail before. I was not ready. So after like 2 runs of that and some gnarly bails, I kind of threw in the towel on like trying to I didn't want to injure myself over trying to
Right.
win the GTS. So and
What place did you
Austin.
finish in?
So I actually got third overall. Second went to Chabre Shoemaker, which they did a similar trail challenge. I don't remember what the trail was called, but they did it back in November. And that also had a grand prize of a GTS. So he's already got one. And then Austin ended up taking first by a couple seconds. They were actually battling out. It was pretty intense.
Ah.
But Austin ended up taking it by a couple seconds. And then at the award ceremony, he ended up passing on the GTS to me.
But I
So I've
believe
got
there
one in
was.
the quiver now.
Yeah, you got one in the quiver, but I believe I saw some kind of post or something that if I won the GTS, I would sell it or some sort. It was by you, right? Did you?
Is that true?
So if I had
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
I
you-
had won it, if I had won it, that was the plan. So they engraved the rail on the side, and my plan was going to be to swap out the rails for something like WTFs, keep the engraved rail as a trophy, and then sell the GTS at a good price, like a price you
Yeah.
can't buy online or something, brand new to some lucky person.
Yeah.
And win-win, like, because I'm pretty happy with the boards I got now, and it'd be nice to have a GTS, but I could probably use the money a little bit more, at least where I'm at right now. So that was the
Yeah.
plan if I won it. But with Austin gifting it to me, it's definitely
Hey.
I'm not that kind of person.
Hey,
That's
I'm
you
holding
know.
really
on to
nice
it.
of you,
Yeah.
Nico.
Hey, you know that
And
was that was a calculated move by
Yeah.
Austin. It is not just.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
love
But
that.
I'm holding on to it, and like I said, it'd be nice to have one. So I'm still gonna like ride it from time to time. It's actually my only board I own right now that has headlights and taillights, so that's a plus.
Wow.
Your night board. So you have a race board, you have a board you really like, your fun board, and then well, if I'm out at night,
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
board.
I
I
guess
do
I'll
plan
use
on-
the GTS.
It's gonna be really nice to have that board on the side just to keep up with all the firmware updates and all the
Yeah.
progress. Because chasing Austin down that entire weekend, and then just the other day I was chasing down Neil Bennett on our local trails, Granite Bay, and that new firmware is the real deal. I
Yeah.
gotta give it to them. Like I didn't have a chance to pull out the GTS for that ride. I just kept riding my Vesk. So I haven't tried the firmware update personally, but just chasing those guys down and seeing how it handles the uphill,
Yep.
how it handles certain drops with a little bit less tail drag at least.
That's awesome.
It's definitely an improvement. So it's cool to see the direction that that's headed.
It's a game changer. Again, I think the coolest thing is when you get these firmwares, and you know it when you try something new on the Vesk, and you go to the trails you always ride on, and you know the sections that you just struggle on with your board, and all of a sudden you don't, and you're like, whoa, that's different. That was totally my case with the update. It just I can mob. It's been one of the most fun updates. Like that's
Exactly, man. Like I've been touting it for the last year and a half. One of my favorite parts about Vesk has just been being able to go to all these different trails that I've been to before, and like there's these sections that I pass, and then I thought, oh, I'll never hit that. It's not even worth it, or just parts that you have to get off your board, and then now you can just hit all that stuff without thinking. Like techie uphill trails are one of my favorite things to do now,
yeah,
and now with gradient tracking, that's opened up to basically
yeah.
everybody, at least everyone that has a GTS, and seeing all these people experience that joy that I felt kind of alone in, and like holding on for myself for the last year.
Yeah,
It's really awesome to see everyone else finally experiencing the same thing I have been.
Yeah, it's a tough bit. There's a lot of FOMO in the community. Like when somebody's doing something on a Vesk that I can't do, I'm like, oh, that's probably the times I feel like, oh, I do want a Vesk, is like I want to experience that, and vice versa from Vesk to well, it's just funny. You go to all these races and everybody's trying everybody's boards. Oh wait, you've got to.
Yeah.
Can I try that? And just because everybody's got this, I want to try the tire. I want to try the hub. I want to try. And so it's funny how whatever's the latest update to whatever operating system, everybody wants to try. So how long till we see you on a GTS with a remote? Is that, I mean...
that was just some of the...
Come on.
That's a future motion question. That's
No.
not me.
No. Here, this is me speculating. I have no intel on this, but you have been brought to Float Life to figure this stuff out. You've been brought to come hijack the firmware and make the... You know it. You don't have to confirm on this. We'll just...
Here's the thinking, especially with like, I never got into all the re-wheel stuff and all that, and if Vesk had never been a thing, I would have been all over re-wheel, diving in and like reverse engineering stuff to make some crazy features on FM boards.
Yeah.
But like now that we have an easy outlet for the guys that want to tinker and get experimental, like you don't have to go the hard way about it. We already got it. So
this is true.
No need to dive deep into trying to hack future motion boards when they're just doing their own thing now. So
yeah, and again, I say this with a smile on my face and not much authority or oomph on it, but it's like, why do you want to mess with their board and potentially get sued? You know what I mean? Like I said that with a smile on my face, like yeah. And
yeah,
so
we have the outlet to do what we need to do. And honestly, like we talked about the last time I was on here. I really think it's competition to some degree and in a good way, but like these boards can coexist. They're for different people. So just being able to have that like great out of box experience, especially with the GTS where it's a fairly solid, you don't really need to do many mods to it to get it riding really well.
Right.
Having that out of box experience is something that Future Motion has the experience and the resources to pull off in a way that no one else in the industry really can right now.
Right.
While Vesk allows all these tinkers and people that want to get experimental to sort of have that outlet and not have to mess with Future Motion boards. So Future Motion is at less risk of their boards being tinkered with, and it's a win-win all around, in my opinion.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I think good competition or just breeds innovation.
Yeah, it breeds innovation.
So, yeah, and you can see it. I think with Vest sitting around and doing what the community is doing there is pushing the engineers at Onewheel maybe to move a little bit faster than they would have in the past. I like all those things. Now, I got a lot of crap last week for me talking about Jeff was talking about the new foot hooks and how I was like, they look a little bit control freaks, and somebody's like, oh, you're okay with Jeff and team maybe stealing ideas from control freaks. And I was like, no, I never said that. I was just like, we're building on top of each things. There's no patents broken. There's no laws being broken. That's where I was kind of going. But somebody took it as like, I'm okay with people stealing other people's ideas. I was like, I don't even know how to go from there. But a lot of people were getting on me for something like that last week. And I get it. I think, what was it? One of the classes, Lil, you're a recent college. Well, no, Nico is more recent college graduate, but in the room. What is it? Ethics and economics? Do they put that class together?
No, morals
yeah,
and ethics.
Yeah, but there's not a class about that.
Well, I took an ethics class in my undergrad.
Yeah, so there's an ethics class,
It
right?
was just ethics.
Yeah,
but I do think
it wasn't like
there are some of these things isn't about like stealing ideas or taking ideas and trying to create your own. That's an ethic issue, and now that gets really messy.
Well, it's one thing, we were talking about this, and if there's a patent on it, then you're straight up breaking the patent. If there's not a patent on it, then it becomes an ethic issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and as we've done, Nico, a little bit more deep diving on patents, because that's been a hot topic on Onewheel suing Float Wheel and stuff, and our understanding on patents, when you fill out a patent, you are agreeing upon you will chase down infringements on patents. That's what you're agreeing to, and you get a patent. So part of that baked into the process is you go do that. So if no patent exists, well, now people, it's an ethics question, and that's so hard.
It's a complex thing of like what's ethical and what's moral isn't always legal, and what's legal or illegal isn't always moral or ethical. It's a complex thing.
It is complex, but I think it's an easy. I think most people inside our community of Onewheel and all those things, I think you can start giving. No, I know where that came from. Like again, we're reporting what Onewheel just dropped, but I know where they got the idea. For the most part, I don't know. I'm not sitting in any room, but they just dropped a soft back foot pad for. Where'd the idea come? You know what I mean? Like I'm not dumb. Like I'm not. It's not. But I'm not in any room saying that they had this idea 20 years ago either, right? So I don't know. Maybe it's been up there and they just finally got to it, and some other people. But it's like, I've been riding one of those for a while.
Yeah.
I got a lot more options now. I even have an option now. I can make it glow. Thank you, Float Life, for some
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, that's an area where like it's within their legal right to. They're not breaking any laws, or it's not like there's a patent on urethane foot pads or anything like that. But
it's an ethics thing.
Is it ethical?
You're right.
And what does that mean to you? And so at the end of the day, people have the choice to buy where they want to buy from. So if people care about that and care, I want to buy from the people that were originally doing urethane foot pads and brought this to the sport, they have that option to buy from the Float Life. If they want to stick with OEM, they also have that option. So
yes, right, and so that is like that's a fun topic to talk on. But again, ethics is going to come down to the one that is doing it, and then I think when you get into business. Ethics and morals in business are very complicated because you got a bottom line.
That's a whole other podcast, right?
Yeah, right. Above mine as well.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you're in the community, but again, it depends how long you've been in the community, right? Like somebody brand new they just got a pint or pint X at Christmas, and they're gonna think that that they've always had it. There's not another brand out there doing it. If you've been around since 2015, now all of a sudden you're going, oh no. The Nug and the Kush, they all came out a long time ago, and you're gonna get, I see where that came from. So. But it's the same. It goes both ways in it, and it's interesting to watch in any community of whatever is like. If you're a motorcycle
For
person
sure.
or a car person, right? It's all happening across the board, and you just got to make sure you're going, oh, I see where that came from. And so we're giving a nod to Float Life a lot today, to Float Life on what they're doing. I think a lot of innovation comes from Float Life. I'm always intrigued to see what the next thing is, and always cooking up something pretty cool. So I think with you on the team out there, that's gonna be really fun and exciting to see what's gonna get created, where you're gonna help take the software, which I think, Nico, is you're gonna create. I don't know this for sure, but I'm thinking you're gonna create some sick upgrades and updates to firmwares and stuff for Vesk, which will trickle into Onewheel, which will be pretty cool to watch what you do.
That's the hope, just the back and forth that like like we talked about,
Yeah,
competition breeds innovation, and just that back and forth. Like at the end of the day, all we want is just better board to ride on. Uh, like I know when gradient tracking first came out, a lot of people were sort of on the defense and up in arms about, obviously that's ATR. Um, but I mean, just seeing the smiles on people's faces as they're riding like this terrain that they couldn't ride before, like
right,
it's hard to be mad at that, you know.
right.
Better boards is better for everyone, and then like I would love to see Future Motion putting out updates and like innovations in their firmware and elsewhere that puts us on our toes, and like, oh, we got to respond to that and make our boards, best boards better. You
That
know,
is
just
why
that
you
back
are
and forth
so
is
great.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what makes Nico great. He's all about
Yeah,
everybody.
you love the sport, and so do we. We love the sport, and we're trying to leverage our platform to be able to inform and, uh, honestly, to make a good podcast, you got to have somebody on the other side of whatever topic it is to keep it going. Or if we all just agree, we'll just be like, "There's nothing more to talk about," right? It's like you have to be able to talk the other side of things, I like what everybody's doing. I enjoy watching. Even with what Onewheel Parts is dropping with, I forget what they're calling their foot hooks, or maybe that's what they're calling them. I think they've changed it enough that that's very unique. I've not seen anything like that. I've seen parts of it that allude to and kind of nod to, hey, it's this. And I think if you want the foot hooks that they're dropping, it's very different than what you would get out of a Control Freak. So for everybody that's out there going, oh, what about this? I just be loyal to your brands. That's really
That's
what we.
what, at the end of the day, the customer has the decision to
Yeah.
support where they want to support.
Yep.
And it's good to have those like conversations about that stuff, so at least people are informed before they make that decision.
Yep.
Yeah, at the end of the day, technically legal, and it's, as far as I can tell, it seems like it's going to be in a different price category too. So
Yeah, but and that's true of everything that Onewheel Parts brings. It is a
for
bit.
sure, it's a bit more of a luxury item.
It's the Ferrari. It's the Ferrari of an industry. It is a bit of a spend. But they bring out great things. And, one of the things I would love to see back to a firmware, I'm sure this is an inner battle at Onewheel. I would really like it if they'd bring out where we could balance boards again, or that would allow us to have aftermarket rails. I have my steep and deeps that I really genuinely love, but I don't have them on currently because I don't like just having it in elevate the whole time. I feel like the board ride's different. Now, it could just be mental, but I really enjoy those rails. But until we can tilt it.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's pretty much on board with that. I know I've talked to all the factory team members at this point, and it seems like most, if not all of them, have basically been pushing for that since day one.
Yeah.
So it really just comes down to a logistics side that we probably don't even see on our own end. Whether that be, maybe a liability thing of,
Correct.
oh, if someone sets their nose angle the wrong way so it rides like nose high on stock rails, then you could see something like, if you get into pushback and that makes it more nose high, so now you have no brakes, things like that.
Yep.
Like a big part of it, for it to be possible on future motion boards, I think is going to be just education and them putting out videos alongside of that, of like
Right.
exactly how that new feature works, how to use it properly, and things like that. The most realistic scenario I see is, I don't know if it's realistic, but I wouldn't call it an impossibility that at some point they don't come out with their own rails or something along
Mm,
those lines. And then in the app, it could just be like a toggle of which
Mm.
rails are you using, and
yeah.
then hopefully it'd be an angle that works well for most aftermarket rails, like 3.5 degrees on the nose or something like that. But I don't
Yeah.
know. It
I
seems
laugh
like
because it won't. I mean, the chances are it'll be some random number that won't
yeah,
work with. But yeah, I could see that as well. Is some kind of rails they bring out that people can modify if we just watch what they've done in the past. So
hmm
it'll be interesting to see. It really will
yeah,
be.
but I know the factory team's all on board with it from what I've heard. So it really just comes down to logistics there, and hopefully they can get that figured out.
Yep, and again, that's where I love how you just said it. It's like there's so many factors that we don't get to play into the ideas. We're just sitting creating up. Yeah, just offer tilt to everybody right now, and we're just like, because I know what I'm. Well, let me just go on record. I think I know what I'm doing, but right, like we assume the risk, but there are people like that. Oh, come to find out, McDonald's does serve hot coffee. Like, right? Like, we didn't know that. It's like no one wants to assume their own risk. And so I understand that behind the closed doors, they're going, hold on, some yahoo's going to get this and go, oh, yeah, tilt this way. It'd be great. And then, like you said, no brakes, or it just, and therefore you can't offer it that fast because we're not thinking through that. We just think inside our spot where we are, who I am and how I understand it. So,
Yep, just the way they run as a bigger company, they have to account for all those risks, and
yes.
especially in the last couple years, like that's been a major focus for them because they have to.
Yeah.
I know they've had lots of like product liability
Yep.
lawyers on them for stuff like that. So that's just a major priority for them, whether they like it or not, whether we like it or not.
Yep.
And that's beauty of Vesk, at least, that like if that's not something that you're willing to be patient with as they figure those things out, like at the very least we have another option. We have that outlet for people
Right.
that want the latest and greatest as soon as possible, or experimental stuff that might not be for everyone.
Right. And I mean, I do think it's for a niche, right? Because when you show up to any race, I don't look across the horizon at races and see very many just stock boards.
No.
Like they're all modded out, different rails, different tires, setups I've never even thought of. People that have like welded actual bindings from Onewheel or from snowboards onto the right. Like you see it all. You're just like, I don't know if the race officials are going to let that actually be raced, but you just watch it and you're just like, because I think those that are racing are really trying to always get an edge, an advantage to the competitors, and that's what progresses the sports and makes it enjoyable. So it's going to be a fun season. I think this will be one of the best one-wheel racing seasons yet because of what we have going into. It just feels different this year. And so I'm excited to watch how you're going to do. You're always a contender in there. We just rolled out a Winman where you were the champ. You posted the other day your trophies, and you won. You came out with richer as well. You got money out of the weekend, so it'll be fun to see how you do this race season. So
I'm surprised you haven't already asked.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going to be...
Is there a Float Life race team?
Yeah, are you the first one, the part of a factory Float Life team that's coming out?
I don't think there's anything official as like technically a contender to the factory.
Come on!
Now, the Float
Go
Life
talk to
does
your
have
boss.
The Float Life does have their pro team, like they've had for years. It's the pro team that Bodie was on, that Austin, Neil, and Mercedes.
The entire
were on.
factory team.
Pretty sure Tyler was technically on it. Yeah, so all those guys were on it. I don't want to be put on the spot for all the names right now, but I know we got Rachel Cecil, we got Brendan Schurmeyer, Kyle Hansen, guys like that.
Go ask Jeff to make it official.
We've got guys that are going to be repping the jersey at the very least. So
I want some team competition.
I
where
want to
it's
see
head
them.
to head.
I want to see him put some videos together of the Float Life's team and all.
Well,
of...
Brendan Schumacher is healing up right now. He's on scenic rides only.
Yeah.
But he's finally getting back on his board, so hopefully he'll be able to race here coming soon. But man, it'd be sweet to have I'm saying with oomph behind it, a factory or a Float Life team that is presented. This is the team. Yeah, that would be great, and you should be on it. And it would be a fun season to buy team jerseys and all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
So,
yeah, it'll be really fun to see how all that plays out this year.
It will be. Well, we've taken an hour or so of your time. It's such a pleasure to be able to sit down with you again. When you create something and it's released to the general public, we're going to have you back on to talk about what you just built and how best people should understand it and apply it to. I did ride your settings when I rode the float wheel about a month ago or so. They had your settings in there. That was the first time I ever got to ride it. And I was pleasantly enjoying myself. And so that was pretty cool to ride something that I knew you helped create. So it will be really cool to see what you dream up and help the Float Life do. So thank you, Nico, for your time today.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun year.
It is.
Nothing else to say besides that.
And I can't wait. It sounds like you're going to drop the remote for one race and that. So it'll be great to see how it all plays out.
I'm playing it on a race-by-race basis, and
Let
It Ride is probably going to be I show up and make that decision there if I race both or just the remote. But I don't know. We'll see how the year goes.
By the end of the year, he's going to be on a GTS. That's what I'm saying right now.
Nico, you rock.
You never know. You never know. All right, Nico, have a great afternoon, bro. It's such an honor.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, our pleasure. Bye. That was Nico, everybody. Man, what a legend right there.
He's so nice.
Yeah, you can talk to him. That laugh is contagious.
Yeah,
when
you can tell he's very genuine.
Yeah, he just starts laughing. It's like you want to laugh with the guy. And so it'll be really cool to see what he brings to the table and stuff. We do have images as we land this thing. We were talking about the new foot pad from Onewheel. We like to document all the things coming out and dropping and things. Here is that said foot pad for everybody. It looks sweet. They're calling it the Flare foot pad for the Pint and Pint X. It is soft, very soft. So, and if you want a smoother ride and you want a help with foot fatigue, this is a great addition to your Pint X and Pint. It is $90. You can also get a version at the Float Life as well, and they have different versions of it for all platforms.
Boards.
So they just, not just, but recently they've been dropping a version of that where it lights up all the way around. It looks pretty sweet. They just ran some tests, you can go for hours with it lit up, which would be pretty fun if you're doing a bunch of night rides and things like that. So check out both websites. You're brand new to the community. Float Life has a lot of products that are going to allow you to personalize your board. And same with onewheelparts.com. You can personalize your board there, where you can colorize everything on your board. So check out all those places. And then we're going to do two, ladies. We got two Would You Ride That to end it today for you two, okay?
All right.
Actually, we could do more, but this is a game we do where we present a video to them. Would they ride that? And then we ask you in the chat, would you ride that? It's meant to just put a smile on your face, bringing to you what people in this crazy world just sit around and go, I'm going to try that. Would you ride that? So in the chat today, would you ride that? And also, before we do this, I do want to say thank you to those that gave super thanks today.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that. It's always a surprise when some people do that. And so I didn't get to say thank you earlier. If you guys want to help support the channel and what we do, you can give super thanks. It's right there. You just click it. And I don't even know how to do it because I've never done it for myself. But you just click it and it'll go through. And then you get a cool little banner that says you did it. Just thank you. It does not go unnoticed, and we appreciate the love and support. Okay, here is
Wait, we got to do our jingle.
the jingle of Would You Ride That from our ladies.
Would ya?
Would you, could ya?
Ride that.
Boom.
Nailed it.
Right there. Nailed it. There we go. And right there, Ride Rebellion Floatcast. That's the second time given today. We just want to give them a shout out. If we missed it earlier, Nico was just chatting away, and then there it is. Thank you for giving twice today. Super kind of you. It's a great way for also your name to be popped up, and go check them out. Okay, here we go. Would you ride that? Check this out right here. Here's the first would you ride that.
Oh my word.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Jeez, neither does he. Neither did he.
On the ground like
What? Like, I watched that going, what is wrong with this individual? Like, you didn't even hit.
He didn't write it either.
Yeah, he just dropped it. He just dropped it straight to flat.
He spat on the ground like a bug.
Yeah, there was no transition. Like, he missed a transition ramp for sure.
Did they
the
leave
landing
the video
ramp?
rolling
Yeah,
long
did they
enough
say
to
he was
see if he's
okay?
okay?
No. They left him
my
there.
word.
They're like, we're gonna help with the inflammation. Just stay in the cold temperatures,
Yeah,
okay?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
I think let's roll that again. A way I would do it is I wouldn't just fly off of it. I would try to ride down the roof.
Yeah, I don't think you. I'm not really sure that you could do that either.
But that is just painful.
Is it a roof or the side of a building?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's a roof,
concrete
like
wall.
an A.
Cement.
Oh,
like a
is it?
concrete
Oh, see,
wall.
I took it as an A-frame,
What?
like an A-frame
No.
house.
No, that thing
No?
is
No, it's-
vertical.
Oh yeah, then no, you can't ride
It's
it.
like the Great Wall of China.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so that's a dead no for most of us.
No.
That's great. Wonderful. We got a $1.99 super thanks as well.
you.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. Would you ride that right here? Check this out. These are meant to make you smile. This is local in Minnesota doing the national
Minnesota-
anthem at a local swim meet, and this old dude just
Yes. Yes.
my hero.
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, I would do that.
I would do that. It's your what do they say? Amarada?
Alma mater.
Yeah, there you go. I would do that. Hands down easy. That's the coolest old man
I
I've
would
ever
do that,
seen.
but I'd rather watch him do that.
Yeah, think about that. He just did the national anthem. Like, literally, he just did it. He did the national
He
anthem.
wanted it to be memorable.
Hands the flag off and jumps
then
in.
jumps off.
That's our
That's
local
amazing.
university here in Minnesota. That was great. That was just this week. Okay, would you ride this? Okay, we're going to watch this one
Oh,
more
we're
time.
doing another one?
Yeah, we might as well.
I'm so confused.
This is so funny.
Well, they're just fun.
Yes.
Old dude's my hero. And then
That's
he just
amazing.
like does the back stroke out of there. Okay, here you go. Would you ride this? We got like 6 lined up, so
Okay,
we could
well.
look at this.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, all day. I want to build this.
What?
You are excited about this.
Does that not look awesome, Lily? Would you come if I
Oh my
built that?
gosh.
Would you do it?
I'm not sure.
What the heck?
Now the only thing, like, there is a scare factor that if it doesn't
Yeah, if
stop
that-
you, you're going into the side of that
That's
mountain.
insane.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Especially
I
not if
can
someone
tell
built
you
it
what
that
would
doesn't
happen.
know what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Okay,
I could tell you
that's
what would
in somebody
happen for
rando
sure.
backyard.
Good for them.
Because like that's the only sketchy part for me, Lil, is that it's in
It would be
somebody's
sketchy
backyard.
If you did it in your backyard.
No, I would make sure it wasn't. But if I just came over to your house and your husband Jordan's like, Scott, I just built this slingshot, want to ride? I'd be like,
I bet you would
"Oh."
watch someone else do
I'm
it.
glad
I
they're
would
wearing
watch.
a helmet.
But if I was with him and built it, I'd do it. But not. It was in somebody's backyard. You feel like OSHA
Yeah, it's
hadn't been
gonna
a
be
part
no
of it
for
yet.
me.
I keep
Big no,
watching
she
this
says.
over and over, and it's hysterical.
It's hilarious. Okay, a couple more. Lil's got to go.
I
And
do need to leave.
Couple more. Here we go. She's got to roll. She got this. This is totally your neck of the woods right here, Lil. Would you ride
Oh
that?
yeah, Lil.
It's a moving trampoline doing
Nice.
backflips.
Yeah, I would do that.
But if you don't do your backflip somewhat forward, eventually you have no more trampoline.
You go off of it.
Yeah, that would be hard to keep doing the flips, but I would try it.
Okay, we can make that happen. No, we don't have a bigger trampoline
We don't have a
like
trampoline.
that. We'd have to get a
You
smaller
have to put a
trampoline,
trampoline
but
on
I
some
would
type
do
of
that.
Skis. That looks
Yeah,
kind of
it
fun.
was on some sort of-
However, I cannot flip on a trampoline anyway.
So it's pretty
So
much
jump,
you're jumping.
which is
I would jump.
also
That'd be
fun.
so fun.
Yeah, but when you flip, you're not typically right back in the same spot, though you should.
You can.
But it would be very hard. You would.
Yeah.
So, okay. One more. Would you ride that? That's a yes for me. I would do that one for sure.
Yes.
Random. Just
Moose?
Moose.
Elk?
That's so dangerous.
No, that's straight up moose.
That's so dangerous.
Oh, yeah, I'd ride it like a bull.
Moose
Yes,
are
for
very
sure.
dangerous. I'm
That
surprised.
moose doesn't seem
That's
to be
not
dangerous.
a random moose. That guy has ridden him before.
You think?
Yes.
Dismount, let him get back to the
Yeah,
wild?
look at him. He was about to be.
Yeah, that'd be
petting
awesome.
him.
Well, what would you do with the moose you get
I
off him?
think
I'd
that
pet
that
it.
man domesticated that moose.
I would say, good job, Moosey Moose. Thanks for letting me ride you. And that's the way I would do it. For sure. I'd do that. I do think it's a trained moose.
I think that's
I'm
a
with
trained
you.
moose.
I would ride a trained moose.
I totally would do that.
The last time
not
I saw a
an
dude
untrained
jump
moose.
on a moose in the wild, they got arrested. So I'm pretty sure if you're
moose
posting
are
that,
dangerous.
how do you know? Like, what
Because
makes them so dangerous?
The National
They're-
Geographic shows.
Sure, yeah. Someone told me once. They're very dangerous.
Ah,
They'll pounce,
they'll pounce,
kill ya.
pounce,
They'll
like a
ram
kangaroo.
right into you.
Yeah, if they feel threatened.
All right, Lily's on her way out. Holly, for you, would you ride that? Lil, thanks for being on the show today. You're a gym
Bye,
hero.
everyone.
Bye, Lil.
Would you ride that? Let's hear
The
you go-
moose?
No, this next video.
Oh.
We got a couple. How many more we got? Icon. One last one. Would you ride that? Here we go for laughs and giggles. Watch this. This is special. This is like
What is going on here?
that
This is
horse is
madness.
dragging this individual on skis over ramps. Hit it again.
If
This-
I
you-
had the ability to do that, I would do that. That looks fun.
right through fire, on skis, over ramps and things, being pulled by a horse. Yes. That is awesome.
If I could
Who's-
do, yeah.
People are awesome.
Yeah, that's
because they
awesome.
think that crap up.
That's so fun.
That is amazing and awesome.
That's fun.
Everyone, thanks for being with us today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as we try to bring you content throughout the week from races, podcasts, informative videos, how-tos, and reviews. We got it all packed in on this YouTube channel. We love what we get to do, hanging out with you, talking to those that are pushing the sport and being creative minds. It's a good time to be alive, everybody. Enjoy your One Wheel Wednesday. Holly's got to get out there and ride her one wheel. Well,
I
my
do.
one wheel. One of the kids is one wheel. Somebody's one wheel. She's going to get out and ride today. So thanks for being with us today. And go check out thefloatlife.com for their 5-inch rim bundles. Sweet idea. And that
Nice.
tire that they just dropped. Oh, my goodness. That sounds awesome. A 5-inch hub. So it's 5 inches smaller diameter, but you're going to get a whole bunch of rubber on there, and you're going to get the width of 6 inches. That sounds perfect.
Amazing.
Sounds amazing. That's a great way to put it. So, at least don't go get one of those until after I get mine, okay, everybody? I'm going to go order that right now. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next week. Adios.
Bye.